Hello, my name is Kassidy, and today I'm going to be discussing the connection between human and animal emotions, as well as how these emotions affect their survival. To start off, I need to address the importance of acknowledging consciousness in animals. Humans need to understand where we stand on this earth. We believe that we are higher than other animals, but we are essentially the same. Just like humans, animals know who their friends, enemies, and family are. They live in homes, get food, and raise young. Their presence is just as important on this earth as ours. Some people believe animals simply take things in, but don't process these thoughts. But they do. They're not just machines. Some people may say fight or flight is just an instinct, but they genuinely become frightened by this. People can easily notice when an animal becomes frightened or if they are calm, especially in domestic animals, but also in wild ones. Some scientists didn't or still do not believe that animals have consciousness. They believe if we don't know anything about the mind, then we cannot confirm consciousness. Many believe this because it helps them treat animals one way if they don't think that they have feelings. Some scientists that work with animals have noticed that each animal has its own personality. Some are shy, assertive, or playful. Some may be confused by how scientists can read animals, especially wild ones. According to Mark Bekoff, co-founder of Ethologists for Ethical Treatment of Animals, you can read an animal by their muscle tone, posture, gait, facial expression, eye size and gaze, vocalizations, and even odors. Many pet owners have probably noticed these features before. If a dog feels angry or threatened, it might growl, or if it feels upset, it might whine. Cats often arch their back when they feel threatened as well. When an animal feels uncomfortable or scared, they might open their eyes wide and look around and tense up. But if they're uncomfortable, when an animal feels uncomfortable or scared, they might tense up, open their eyes wide, and look around. But if they are comfortable, they will become more loose and close their eyes or squint. These are just a few examples of animals expressing their emotions. Though it's easy to see that they're expressing something, some may say that this is just primal, not secondary. Primal instincts are instincts that animals are just born with. They do it without thinking about it. On the other hand, secondary instincts are helpful for rare situations. They develop consciousness in animals that allows that individual to make connections between their feelings and actions. Many scientists believe that the limbic system seems to be the main area of the brain in which many emotions resided, but current research indicates that all emotions are not necessarily in one system. Though scientists cannot see the animals' brains, they may be onto something, seeing that their brains go deeper than we may think. Some of the emotions I listed earlier may seem obvious, but there are many emotions that most people are not aware of. There are many examples of animals expressing grief when they lose one of their members. Many animals like geese and elephant will hang their heads down and their eyes will become droopy. There have been sightings of seals wailing loudly when watching their family members be eaten by whales. These emotions may seem temporary, but they can go on for days and days. These animals will get quiet and move slowly as if they are depressed. We are starting to get into the similarities between human and animal emotions. Some researchers have noticed when monkeys fall out of trees or do something embarrassing, they'll look around to see if others saw them fall. They strive for validation just like humans. Some animals can even show sympathy to other species if they know they are in danger. To start off, this is also starting to go into our topics that have to do with survival. Humans and animals both have a state called homeostasis. This is where we feel physically and emotionally safe. When we don't feel that way, it's sort of called survival mode. It's when we feel unpleasant. Your body wants you to feel this so you know to possibly avoid whatever you might be experiencing. For the majority of the time, human and animal bodies are in homeostasis, but there are a few emotions that we often feel whenever we're in survival mode. To start off with one of the example emotions, let's talk about disgust. When you think about it, if we're disgusted by something, our eyes usually narrow, our mouths shut tightly, and our bodies often go away from whatever we're disgusted by. This means that our body is triggered by something that may be a health risk. Even if it really isn't bad for our health, it might remind us of something that we know is. Our body is unconsciously keeping us alive through our emotions. Another, probably more important emotion is fear. When comparing the amount of fear in each animal's bodies, it actually can differ. This is why some people believe certain animals do not have as many emotions or do not have the same consciousness, because it can sort of be on a spectrum. Humans have a higher amount of fear than other animals. This large amount of fear can often cause paranoia in humans. Our mentality can sometimes go beyond what is supposed to. Other animals that have lower fear drives die quicker. Many pet owners have problems. Fear is a very important feature that allows us to know when we are in a dangerous situation. Another sort of emotion, you could say, some say otherwise, is hunger. Hunger is when the level of various nutrients and minerals in the cells of our bodies drop below a critical point. Those cells begin to veer dangerously away from homeostasis. This feeling may be in our body as our body sends that hungriness to our brain. This is why it can sometimes be considered an emotion, because our brain is what's telling us that we need to eat food. Not only does our body begin to feel weak, but our brain screams over and over that we need to get that nutrients. Talking about fear again, we can sort of go into the paranoia and anxiety. These are things that we think only humans have. The reason why we experience this is sort of a connected fear. This is when we get scared from early experiences. We know that it's okay now, and your body knows that it isn't dangerous, but it's new or unfamiliar. Even if it is familiar, it may be from a past bad experience that your body does not want to relive. Our brain connects things all the time, and whenever we see something that triggers us, it can sort of create an emotion to come back. We know for a fact that humans feel this way. They get anxious, they have depression, they get paranoid. But that goes back to the debate of whether or not animals feel this way too. It's really an unanswered question. There are many pieces of evidence that show that animals have some emotions, but it's hard to know if they feel the same way that we do. One thing is clear: we need emotions to live. Without emotions, we would venture out and do things that we shouldn't. We wouldn't know when to feed ourselves. We wouldn't know what's safe. Humans are animals too, so you would think the majority of animals might feel the same way we do. We'll never know. If we can't look into their mind, then it's hard to know how they are feeling. Okay, so we've addressed a lot of the sort of negative things about why we need to be afraid so we don't die from something that could be harmful towards us. But let's think about the happy things. Why do we feel happy or get in playful moods? Well, there's many reasons. Just generally being happy can help combat stress, boost your immune system, protect your heart, and reduce pain. It can maybe even increase life expectancy. When you think about it, humans and animals wouldn't want to keep surviving and live if we weren't happy or got in good moods. These good moods sort of reward us too. Bodies work in a way that enjoy rewards that helps them keep pushing. Another little topic I'll talk about briefly is how if we didn't get attracted to others or fall in love, then humans and animals would never reproduce. We would all be extinct, really. Another feeling that may seem sort of pointless is being playful, but that's honestly very important. Being playful usually leads into us doing some sort of exercise or moving around, getting our brain going. Our bodies need to exercise and move around to have a healthy immune system, burn fats, gain muscle, and build strong bones. People who are happier and more playful often have better sleep habits, productivity, and concentration. It is surprising how many benefits can come from just changing your mood and being happy, having an optimistic outlook on life, and getting around. Again, we know humans experience these feelings, but animals definitely experience these as well. Anybody who has a pet has seen a cat play with string and chase a laser pointer, or a dog play fetch. They all have that sort of playful attitude every once in a while, and they need it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to hunt, they wouldn't be able to fight other animals, they wouldn't have strong muscles and have good immune systems. Like I said, there is no for sure way to know if animals feel the exact same way as we do. We know that they sort of have similar emotions and that it can sort of be on a spectrum for specific emotions, but we're not exactly sure. We are sure that there are many, many different emotions that all have specific duties. They may seem unimportant at times and sort of just a big pain, but they all have their reasons. Going into some examples that I've experienced in my life with animals and them expressing their emotions is with my own dog. My dog is extremely attached to my dad. She always goes to him whenever she's upset. She always wants to cuddle with him, plays with him. And whenever he leaves or goes to work for a long period of time, she will sit at the door and stare at the door and wait for him. She'll whine and she wants to go outside. And then as soon as he comes through that door, she jumps on him and actually physically gives him a hug with her arms. She dances around, her tail wags, and it really shows that she does have feelings and that she's feeling very happy to see him. This is sort of similar to that sympathy thing I talked about earlier. This isn't necessarily sympathy, but it is an animal creating a connection between another animal. They have relationships even if it's not their same species, especially whenever it is a pet owner. That person has taken care of them is like their mother or father. But on the other hand, there are animals like cats, which I also have one. My cat is sort of like my baby in a way, but she doesn't act the same way as our dog. I give my cat treats constantly, feed it, water it. It gets basically anything it wants. But cats have sort of different attitudes. Every animal has similar emotions, but each animal has sort of their own attitude. Cats are very selfish, especially Siamese ones. She could care less what other people think. She does her own thing, and she doesn't really show very much affection. These are a couple actual experiences I have with animals and their emotions. I definitely have many experiences with emotions myself too, being a teenage girl and all, but I often find myself being confused by my own emotions and why I have them. But whenever you think about it this way, you know that it's all for a reason. I'm in some way, shape, or form protecting my body and keeping myself alive. I want to take the last few minutes of this podcast to talk about some emotions that some of you may be struggling with. If any students are listening to this podcast, I bet they experience stress quite often. Well, if they're anything like me. Stress, in a way, can be a good thing. It shows that you care and you're trying to do your best. If you don't strive to be your best and get stressed out every once in a while, then you're probably not going to be very successful in life. These stressed and anxious feelings might show that we're trying to be at the top of our food chain, just like an animal. Like I said before, we're not that much different from animals. We may have different goals, but in the end, we're all just trying to get to the top. It is a good thing to push yourself to reach these limits, but sometimes, like I said before, you need to take a break. Be happy. Be playful. Sometimes you need a break. You need to be carefree. Not only does it take your mind off of things, but it physically makes your body feel better. Emotions may seem complex and like you can't control them, but it's your brain. You decide what it does. To be healthy, you must be able to balance your stress level, your fun, and playful side as well. Not only are emotions pivotal to our survival, but they're very important to us actually living. I don't mean living by getting shelter, food, water. I mean actually enjoying the life we're living. If we don't enjoy the life we have, what's the point of surviving anyway?